Welcome to Virtual Antics, your go-to podcast for digital entrepreneurs, powered by Nandora.org and NG Virtual Assistant. We're here to guide you through every aspect of business, from networking to lead generation and so much more. Get ready to thrive in the virtual world with expert insights and our all-in-one solution, Nandora, where creating a digital business becomes a breeze. Let's dive in and revolutionize your business journey together. Welcome back to the Virtual Antics podcast. As always, I'm your host, Natalie Guzman. Today, I have the fantastic Rebecca Whitman on today. I'm so excited for you guys to hear from her. She is known as the Magnetic Abundance Mentor. She graduated with honors from Princeton University, and she is the author of international best-selling books, Phenomenal Feminine Entrepreneurs, Business, Life, Universe, and How to Make a Six-Figure Income Working Part-Time. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thanks, Natalie. It's great to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. So you can tell us a little bit about what you do. I love that you're called the Magnetic Abundance Mentor. That's such a cool title.
Thank you. So a little bit about my backstory. I moved to LA 22 years ago to be an actress. So I was shocked that last year I won Life Coach of the Year. I was never planning to be a life coach. I was doing really small acting parts on really big shows like Friends, CSI, 24. And to support myself, I was working at kids' acting schools. And while the kids were at school, I would study the law of attraction with great spiritual teachers like Michael Beckwith, Abraham Hicks, Louise Hay. And I started applying it to my job at the kids' acting school. And before I knew it, I was making six figures. Then I tried to apply it to my love life. It wasn't as successful. I ended up going through a divorce. And as I was going through a divorce, my dad was dying. And in one of our last conversations, he asked me to write a book. I had no idea what I was going to write about. And a few months later, I was sitting in my financial planner's office. And he said, I'm noticing that you lost your dad in your marriage, yet you come in here, your energy's good, and you're actually having your best financial year ever. You're a self-made millionaire this year with your investments. And I think you should teach people what you did. So I looked at my life and I divided it into 7 key areas, which I call my 7 pillars of abundance. And when my life is aligned in those 7 key areas, I can be more resilient and I can be, do, or have anything I want. Now I'm married to my soulmate. I have a coaching business that empowers people to go from burned out to balanced, beautiful, and abundant. And I call myself the Magnetic Abundance Mentor.
That is amazing. Wow, what a story. That is absolutely awesome. So that you were able to recognize. So what are these 7 pillars that you kind of sectioned your life into?
Yeah, they are spirituality, fitness, emotions, romance, mindset, social, and financial.
Nice. I love that because I'm a huge believer in that. If we create, our goals and we actually write them down, then we write all the steps that we get to there, we can accomplish those things. But without actually defining what we want to improve at, we can't improve at it. We don't know. We're just flying blind, right? So I think that's like someone trying to run a race and never looking at the map, right? Of where to go up that mountain. And so I think that's really, really powerful. Now, what you work with clients, you're a life coach. So what kind of do you have a speciality or type of client that you work with the best?
Yeah, I have 2 programs that are my signature program. One is creating a 6-figure side hustle. I help people either create an additional income stream or an exit strategy so they can leave a job that they don't like. And the second one is I teach women to manifest their soulmate in midlife in 7 simple steps. So those are my 2 signature programs. And I really think love and money are the most important things to lead a happy life. So it's really rewarding helping. I mostly work with women achieve major results in those 2 areas.
Yeah. And now you're saying, so I love that you focused on 2 because at first I was like, man, seven
Yeah.
areas. That seems like a lot. It can be overwhelming. So with your clients, you usually start with like 1 to 2 areas for them to focus on.
Well, I teach that all 7 areas are connected. They're like spokes of a bicycle wheel. So I have just a general overview of life where I want to make sure that they are touching all seven
Mhm.
areas all week, not all day. That would be way too busy. For example, spirituality, that's part of my morning practice. I do that every single day. The second thing is fitness. I do that 5 or 6 days a week. Emotions, that's just a constant discipline to go from scarcity or not enough thinking to abundance. There's more than enough money. There's more than enough love. There's more than enough energy to do what I need to do. The next thing is romance, and romance affects all the other areas. That's why I'm so passionate about people leaving the relationships that no longer serve them. There's no such thing as a neutral partner. They're either lifting you up or they're draining you energetically. The next area is mental, and people can do mindset work in the nooks and crannies of their day, like listening to your wonderful podcast, listening to Audible, listening to YouTube. They can take a class on Zoom. It's just so easy now to expand and grow your mind. The next area is social. I try to schedule one social visit a week with a friend at least, but I always try to get one in. And then finally, financial. And I don't believe you should work more than 10 hours a day. I think that leads to burnout. So I'm
Mhm.
all about structuring your time and doing what I like to call power hours, very concentrated blocks of time where you are super focused on one activity.
I love that. I actually just started recently closing out all my tabs on my computer screen because I read that helps with, really focusing on one thing. So you're not looking at that tab and be like, oh, I got to do that or I got to do that later. And it actually has improved my productivity, which is really cool. What would you say to a client that says, well, I know I need to focus on all these, but I have absolutely no time in my schedule?
I would say just do them. Not like, oh, I got to do my spirituality. Just make it a habit. And if you make these things habits, like having a morning practice, I actually have a really amazing journal that, with your permission, I'd love to give to your listeners. And it's something that I've been doing every morning for 30 years. And I don't even think about it. Like I did it right before this podcast. I do it every morning, no matter what. Some people do it in the evening. I would say just make these 7 pillars a practice. And these are the areas of your life, whether you acknowledge them or not. These are the areas of life. And it's just being aware that you want to touch all these 7 areas in a week. Because if you just get hyper focused on one area, then you are going to live a life that is out of alignment. Let's say that you're just hyper focused on money and you work 60 to 80 hours a week. Well, that's going to lead to burnout, and that could lead to sickness and even death. Or if you're just so focused on the gym and getting that perfect body that you don't have time for any relationships and you can't even go to like a birthday party because the food isn't perfect or whatever. Like, you don't want to be hyper focused on just one area. You want to have a holistic, beautiful life and touch on all areas. I'm not saying that if you're in a business building phase that your main focus isn't something. Like my main focus right now is my finance because I'm building my coaching business. So that is an area that I probably spend more hours a week on than the other ones. But that doesn't mean that I'm not aware that I want to do my health and fitness goals and socialize and have a date night with my husband once a week and all the other things. Is I don't really like the word balance as much as harmony. If you think of these 7 areas of life as musical instruments, you want to have a symphony, you want a harmonious life where every instrument gets to be heard.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I think that's so true. I'm always focused on one area. Like I think this week it's been more at family and home life, and last week was definitely more work. So that's really interesting. How can we know if we're out of alignment in one of the pillars? What are some signs?
Yeah, well, you can take a free quiz on my
Oh,
website. There's
cool.
actually a free quiz to see if you're in or out of alignment, and you get instant results. You'll know right away. Or, I mean, I think you'll just know when you hear these 7 areas in this podcast today, and you're like, oh, yeah, I haven't gone to the gym in 6 months. I'm out of alignment in fitness, or I haven't had a date in 5 years. My heart is broken and I'm healing and I haven't been able to like bring myself to go on a date, or you think, oh, I need to lose 5 or 10 pounds before I'm ready to date, which you don't. You're perfect just the way you are. So I think intuitively, you haven't like gone to a party or socialized with a friend in a while because you've been so hyper focused on your kids. Everybody needs grown-up time and girl time or boy time, whatever. So yeah, I think you'll know intuitively when you hear these 7 areas where you are neglecting your efforts.
Interesting. And then take date nights, for example, right? I'm a huge believer in date nights, but sometimes we don't have time during the week, even though we make as much effort as we can. Instead, my kids keep telling us we go on dates all the time because we started calling when they go to bed, we watch TV in the living room together, and they call that our date night. So
Oh boy.
yeah. So do you think date nights, do they have to like reach a certain level or any of these steps? Or do you think they could just be as simple as just taking the time together out of your schedule to improve the relationship?
I think date night should be no kids. I
Mm-hmm.
think no phones, no TV.
Okay.
Whether it's just taking a walk in the neighborhood and like, okay, we don't have a lot of time this week to go to a restaurant, or maybe we're on a budget and we don't want to spend $100 on dinner, but we're gonna go to a walk and connect and be present. And I think at least one date night a week is very important for long-term relationships, because people get so caught up in their jobs and their kids and all the other stuff that keeps us so busy that they lose track of each other, and you don't want to grow apart. And everything, all these 7 areas, they do need attention or they will go down. I like to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. So that might be a nice assignment for the people who are listening. Look at these 7 areas and rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. And there's always room for improvement. And you can ask yourself, what actions would I need to do to get this to a level 10? And I think we all know what we need to do to get each of these areas to a level 10. And then you might want to hire a coach like myself or Natalie or someone else that can hold you accountable to get that to a level 10, because we all know what we need to do, but a lot of us don't have the motivation or accountability to do it. And I actually have a free women's circle every Tuesday at 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. And it's for accountability, community, and free coaching from me. So you guys are all welcome to attend that. All the stuff that I'm sharing will be in my Linktree link that Natalie can share in the show notes.
Perfect. Yes, I'll make sure I put that there. And is there anything, last closing thoughts or anything else that you want to mention to our listeners?
I know that a lot of your listeners are business owners, they're entrepreneurs, they are looking to systematize their life through having software and systems and assistants. And I think that is so great. I would just encourage you guys to stay in your zone of genius, because when I was starting my business, I was like taking every course on ClickFunnels, on Facebook ads, on Facebook pixels, on all the stuff. And it made me so frustrated because that's not how my brain thinks. And now I just delegate it all. And there's no point in racking your brain to do something that is not fun. I think when you are in joy, you are magnetic. That's why I call myself the magnetic abundance mentor. People want to do business. People want to be around. People want to be in relationships with people that are in joy. That's what makes you magnetic. So if you could delegate all those things that are not joyous to you to an assistant, I highly recommend that. I like the 3 Ds: either do it, delegate it, or ditch it, and
Mhm.
just streamline your life and your business so that you have time to live into all these 7 areas of abundance and live the most fulfilling life that you can.
That is amazing. Perfect closing to it too. And I love the 3Ds. That is amazing. I'm definitely gonna have to, I'm gonna have to take some notes on that
Yeah.
one. But awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a blast. I know I learned a lot. I'll put all those links into the show notes, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Natalie. Bye, everyone.